A 9-year-old fan and his family are the latest people to take legal action against Travis Scott and the venue for his injuries at the Astroworld festival. The boy is currently in a medically induced coma fighting for his life, and his family is demanding $1 million in damages. The 9-year-old boy named Ezra Blount is currently in a medically induced coma after he was seriously injured at the Astroworld festival. The boy's family is now suing Scott for gross negligence. Ezra was at the festival with his father Treston. In the heat of the chaos at the event, Ezra's father Treston had him on his shoulders for protection, but unfortunately Ezra was dropped to the ground after his father passed out from exhaustion. This led to damage to his lungs, kidneys, liver, heart, and brain. When Treston awoke, he went to the medical tent and was told his son was admitted to the hospital due to his severe injury. Treston started a GoFundMe page for support, which has now raised over $50,000. The lawsuit against Scott claims that he and concert organizers failed to enforce proper safety protocols or provide sufficient security staff for the event, which was attended by more than 50,000 people. Blount's family is blaming Travis and the festival for not stopping the concert for more than 40 minutes after the event was labeled a mass casualty event by police. Travis temporarily paused the music on 3 occasions, but never for more than a few moments. The lawsuit implicated Travis, Live Nation, Cactus Jack Records, and even Drake, who was performing with Scott on stage during the heat of the chaos. Lawyers believe the damages for the event will be in the billions of dollars. Treston, Ezra's dad, is a huge Travis Scott fan and even has an Astroworld tattoo on his forearm, but now he wants answers and compensation for what happened to his son. Ezra's grandfather, Vernon Blount, told ABC 13, quote, "I've seen apologies online that didn't look so sincere from people who participated in the event. If you feel so bad, why don't you go to the hospital to check on your fans? Why would you keep letting concerts be this way and let people get injured? Nobody should get injured to make $1. Nobody should have to lose their child, their grandchild to make $1. Safety should have been provided for their fans." Ezra's grandfather also revealed to media that the boy was injured so badly that he went into cardiac arrest at some point and is suffering brain damage. Vernon added, quote, "If the mayor said there was 500 policemen there, I didn't see 500 policemen. When the event said there was 700 security, I didn't see 700 security. I saw children running through their gates, that's what I saw." Travis has commented on the situation since the event and revealed that he will cover funeral costs of those who are deceased following the event. Since the tragedy, he has been hit with a slew of lawsuits from the victims' families as well as the injured. One lawsuit served yesterday involved 68 attendees who were at the event. Texas attorney Thomas J. Henry says that he is being contacted by more people by the hour. Following the event, it was reported that 8 people lost their lives, although yesterday a 9th person, a student named Bahardi Shahadi, has lost her life following the festival. She had been on a ventilator fighting for her life since the concert, but the 22-year-old student was just labeled brain dead by doctors.
According to a number of reports online, an Instagram model and Drake had hit it off and started to DM each other back and forth. Eventually they would link up at a party, and then later she would go back to Drake's hotel room for the night. After the pair got intimate with each other, Drake then decided to go to the bathroom to dispose of the condom. And this is where things start to get really weird. After he came out of the bathroom, this woman then reportedly went to use the bathroom after him. However, she went into that bathroom with a game plan. This woman allegedly grabbed the condom from out of the garbage can and then proceeded to pour the contents into her genitals, for lack of a better word. Immediately, she began to experience a burning sensation and then started to scream. This caused Drake to run into the bathroom to see what was going on. When she admitted to what she had done, Drake told her that he had poured hot sauce from a packet into the condom to kill the sperm, because he knew full well that she was going to try and get herself pregnant. According to MTO News, they said that now this Instagram model is actually trying to sue Drake for booby trapping the condom. She apparently even posted photos on Twitter of her inflamed private parts for proof. Now, first of all, it's important to note that this Tabasco fiasco is probably nothing more than just a rumor. Secondly, I don't think that the scientific community would necessarily agree that hot sauce is a great way to kill. And if Drake truly didn't want something like this happening, there's plenty of other ways to deal with it, other than, pouring hot sauce inside of the condom. I mean, the only real reason that he would do something like this is if he was under suspicion that she was going to try to get herself pregnant behind his back. Either way, this story spawned a ton of memes where people suggest that Drake definitely did this on purpose, but most people are just laughing at how absurd all of this sounds to begin with. And upon hearing that she was going to be suing Drake for this, a lot of users online were not really impressed. One user writes, "So she's suing him for not allowing her to trap him with an unwanted child?" With another adding, "So from what I just read on MTO News, a chick was trying to steal Drake's but ended up with hot sauce in her and now she wants to sue." Some people have actually refused to believe this story is true, but others are praising Drake for being clever enough to avoid future child support payments. One dude writes, "My man's Drake out here carrying hot sauce with his condoms for his one-night stand so girls don't steal his condoms out of the garbage and try to get pregnant from him. LOL, #power move. Prepare for the hot sauce shortage, stay woke kings." And these kinds of guys always make me laugh because I really don't think that anyone is going to be trying to steal Tyrone's condom out of the garbage anytime soon. Yet he writes this tweet like he and Drake were on the same level. As for the people who don't believe this story at all, one user on Twitter makes a very valid point and said, okay, that story on Drake has to be fake because how nasty do you gotta be to not notice red drippings on a condom? Which is so true. I mean, how would you not notice that literally the contents are orange or clearly look tampered with? Especially if this truly was what happened. Some more bad news is coming Alec Baldwin's way after it was announced that the script supervisor for the film Rust, Mamie Mitchell, will also be suing him along with other producers on the film over the accidental shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. The misfire on set shook the world of Hollywood and took the life of an up-and-coming cinematographer, as well as injuring the film's director Joel Souza. The incident took place during a rehearsal when Baldwin was handed a prop weapon that was deemed to be safe by the film's armorer, as well as the assistant director. In a tearful statement, the script supervisor Mamie Mitchell explained why she was going to be filing this lawsuit against Alec Baldwin. In the complaint, she is quoted as saying, "Alec Baldwin intentionally, without just cause or excuse, cocked and fired the loaded weapon even though the upcoming scene to be filmed did not call for the cocking and firing of the firearm. Mr. Baldwin chose to play Russian roulette with a loaded weapon without checking it and without having the armorer do so. His behavior and that of the producers were intentional acts and or omissions without any just cause or excuse and with utter disregard of the consequences." As I mentioned earlier, some of the other people that have been named as defendants in this case are the armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed and the assistant director David Halls, as well as several production companies. Prior to this new lawsuit, there had also been one filed by the film's head of lighting, Sergei Svetnoy. He filed a lawsuit against Alec Baldwin and others alleging that their negligence resulted in him having severe emotional distress that would haunt him forever. To make matters worse, the attorneys of the crew members for this film also suggested that this may not have actually been an accident at all. They actually insinuated that this could have been sabotage. Hannah's attorney said earlier this month, "I believe that somebody who would do that would want to sabotage the set, want to prove a point, want to say they're disgruntled, they're unhappy." However, the Santa Fe County District Attorney Mary Carmack, who will be the prosecutor in this case, rejected any conspiracy theories. She also said that she understands that more than one live round had been discovered on the set, but would not allow that to cloud her judgment of what took place. Mamie Mitchell's attorney Gloria Allred also made a statement on this recent lawsuit from her client and said, "Today we filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles County Superior Court on behalf of our client Mamie Mitchell against actor-producer Alec Baldwin and numerous other producers of the movie Rust. In our lawsuit, we allege that on October 21st, 2021, Alexander Baldwin, Alec Baldwin, fired a loaded weapon, taking the life of Helena Hutchins, injuring Joel Souza, and causing physical and emotional injuries to Mamie Mitchell, the script supervisor, standing in the line of fire when the weapon went off." Gloria also stated that in this particular scene, the script did not actually call for Alec to be discharging a weapon. Another point of attack for many was the assistant director Dave Halls, who was accused of having prior issues with safety on set. Therese Magpal Davis, who worked in the wardrobe department for the movie, defended Dave though, as well as explaining the misfires and said, "The misfires were accidental discharges, which are more common than you think. Yes, there is a difference, and the weapons were checked immediately afterwards and the discharges were announced on set and apologized for. I was right there. We had several safety meetings, sometimes multiple per day. Our AD never seemed flippant about safety. He may have in other shows, but he wasn't like that on ours. Obviously, he screwed up majorly that day. He was stressed because the camera walkout had put us an hour and a half behind, and he made the most horrible call he could make." According to a text that was obtained by the media, one of the union members who had walked off the set of the Baldwin-produced movie said, "The entire camera crew walked off that morning for that exact reason. Last night, we each wrote resignation letters. We cited everything from lack of payment for 3 weeks, taking our hotels away despite asking for them in our deals, lack of COVID safety, and on top of that, poor weapon safety, poor on-set safety, period. We wrote about this exact issue last night and walked this morning because of it. That's not in any of the papers. They brought in 4 non-union guys to replace us and tried calling the cops on us. Only people that stayed were Helena, the DP, and Reed, the Be Steady op. She had a kid, man. I can't believe it." That day, they did end up having to start late because the production had to scramble to find a replacement camera crew, and according to Joel Souza, they ended up only being able to work with 1 camera. According to the search warrant, aside from Alec Baldwin, 2 other people had handled the prop revolver for that scene, which included armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed and then assistant director Dave Halls, who was the one to actually hand Baldwin the prop. Due to the COVID-19 protocols, the armorer had to set up 3 prop revolvers on a cart outside of Bonanza Creek Ranch's church set. However, when Dave grabbed one of the guns, he claims to have not realized that there were actually live rounds in the one that he was handing to Baldwin. Joel Souza also told the detectives that the cast and crew had taken a break for lunch, and when they returned returned for filming, he wasn't sure if the props had been checked again. The affidavit then goes on to say, Joel said as far as he knows, no one gets checked for live ammunition on their person prior and after the scenes are being filmed. The only thing checked are the firearms to avoid live ammunition being in them. Joel stated that there should never be live rounds whatsoever near or around the scene. When they came back from their lunch though, the cameras had to move to a new angle because of shadows, and as Baldwin was explaining how he would be drawing the revolver, the prop discharged. At the time, Joel was looking over Helena's shoulder, and when the prop discharged, he saw Helena grab her midsection and then stumble backwards. She could be overheard saying that she couldn't feel her legs as people around her helped assist her to the ground. Alec Baldwin is said to be cooperating fully with the investigation, but only time will tell if he begins to push back on all of these lawsuits that are coming his way. Lady Gaga is getting great reviews for her latest performance in the film House of Gucci, but the heirs of the Gucci family are not exactly happy about how they were portrayed. Now, the family is taking legal action against the founders of the film, even calling it an insult to the legacy on which the brand is built. The Gucci family are bringing up this lawsuit as a way of protecting the Gucci name, although Gucci said that the film was far from accurate and that the plot portrayed his family as ignorant thugs that were insensitive to the world around them. He also attacked director Ridley Scott for not bothering to consult with them about the real-life events that inspired the script. Mainly, they really didn't like the fact that Patrizia Reggiani was portrayed in such a sympathetic way. Lady Gaga played Patrizia, who was dubbed by Aldo as the Black Widow because she was convicted for taking the life of her husband Maurizio Gucci, played by Adam Driver in the movie. This is actually something that Gaga had touched on before though in an interview with British Vogue. She knew who this person was going into the film and said that she didn't want to glorify someone that could do something like that, but tried to pay respect to women throughout history who became experts at survival, which actually was another statement that the Gucci family also did not really care for. The Gucci heirs said that their problem with that is that it's not the truth. Portraying Reggiani as a victim trying to survive in a male and male chauvinist corporate culture couldn't be further from the truth, a statement that the family made to Variety in regards to Lady Gaga's British Vogue interview. So it's clear that they did not have a good feeling about this film even before it was released. Despite what the Gucci family thinks though, I don't really think that Ridley Scott was trying to derive most of his script from their actual real life stories. The film is apparently based off of a book called The House of Gucci that was written by Sarah Forden in 2001. In their statement announcing that they would be taking the route of legal action if necessary, the Gucci family said, Gucci is a family that lives to honor the work of its ancestors whose memory does not deserve to be disturbed to stage a spectacle that is untrue and which does not do justice to its protagonists. The members of the Gucci family reserve the right to take action to protect the name, image, and dignity of themselves and their loved ones. However, it may be more difficult for them to take legal action than they think. You see, the Gucci family doesn't even really own that name anymore, nor do they own the business. While they have the ability to use their last name in a personal capacity, the Gucci trademark rights belong almost entirely to the French luxury goods company Kering. In 1999, they acquired 42% of the company for $3 billion. Then in 2003, they raised that stake to 67.7%, and then again in 2004 to 99.4%. So yeah, they own the name. Now sometimes people will go the angle of unauthorized exploitation of their likeness, name, and personality traits, but that would also be an issue for the Gucci family. Due to the right of publicity action, movies became known as an expressive medium, and so it's been established that the public interest in preserving such expression outweighs the private interest of individuals in the commercial value of their publicity rights. However, this all is according to US law where the film's production companies reside. I do not know if Italian law would allow them to proceed with some type of right of publicity action. Ridley Scott doesn't seem too concerned as he dismissed the criticism of his film by the Gucci family. While speaking on BBC Radio 4, he said that he just doesn't engage with that and then reiterated the crimes that the Gucci family is known for, adding that one went to jail for tax evasion, so you can't be talking to him about making a profit. Just off the top, I'd like to give you all a warning that this story contains descriptions of SA, so if this is a sensitive topic for you, this is your warning. Beloved cultural icon Snoop Dogg, whose real name is Calvin Brodus Jr., has just been accused of attacking an anonymous woman that described herself as a dancer, model, host, and actress. She claims to have previously worked with him and said that he forced her to perform while they were together in a bathroom. The alleged victim claimed that after going to a Snoop Dogg concert on May 29, 2013, she was offered a ride home from one of Snoop's associates, Bishop Don Magic Wand. However, instead of taking her home, Don took her to his house where he proceeded to SA her. Then, to make matters worse, it's alleged that the next day he drove her to a studio to audition for Snoop Dogg. It was supposed to be for a television role, but before that, she says that Snoop Dogg cornered her in a bathroom and forced her to perform
In the court documents, the woman says that during her encounter with Snoop, she felt pressured by defendant Snoop Dogg due to his dominance and his position of power over her, including his ability to hire and fire her and ensure that she would never be hired in his industry again. The lawsuit goes on to state that she felt herself thinking about the security of her job if he was displeased by her, then adding that she ended up not even getting the television gig because she refused to willingly and enthusiastically give. According to the lawsuit, he is being sued for SA and violation of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Other media outlets such as Sky News reported that he had tried to handle this case previously through mediation, but the talks ultimately went nowhere, and so she has now filed a civil suit. All of which, I might add, is taking place right before he is set to take the stage for the Super Bowl halftime show on Sunday, February 13th. So far, the only response we have seen from Snoop is this now deleted post where he said, "Gold digger season is here, be careful. Keep your guards up and keep your circle small." And as I mentioned, Snoop is set to perform at this year's halftime show along with Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. In addition to that big news, he has also officially become the man in charge of Death Row Records. The announcement that the rapper had acquired the label came on Wednesday, and it's a bit of a sentimental business move, considering the fact that Death Row Records is responsible for launching his career in the 90s with his debut album Doggy Style. In a statement, Snoop said, "I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value," adding, "It feels good to have ownership of the label I was part of at the beginning of my career and as one of the founding members. This is an extremely meaningful moment for me." As for the lawsuit against him right now, some people aren't entirely buying the story. One person writes, "I'm not into Snoop Dogg and rap, but see that he has been accused of SA by a model and dancer that allegedly occurred in 2013. He's due to perform during the NBC halftime Super Bowl and said it's gold digger season. The woman wants $10 million. Kendall Jenner and her 818 tequila are being sued right now by a competitor called Tequila 512 for very brazenly ripping off 512. Not only that, but her famous sister Kim Kardashian is getting dragged into this lawsuit as well. Tequila 512 is claiming in their lawsuit that 818 knows exactly what they're doing with the logo design and that it was a cheap trick for them to copy them. More specifically, they were upset over the fact that she named her tequila after the San Fernando Valley area code, which is the same shtick that 512 did, which is the area code for Austin. But wait, there's more. They also are suing Kendall for ripping off their color scheme, adding that because they are so similar, it will naturally confuse customers. It does help their case that they've been in business since 2015, whereas Kendall's tequila company started, I believe, in May of 2021. And when you look at the bottles side by side, you can really get a better idea of why this is such an issue for them. Both in color and design, these bottles are the same. If I didn't know, I would assume that they were maybe under the same parent company or something. Now, in a strange twist of events, Kim Kardashian is being named in this lawsuit as well. 512 is claiming that something shady took place in Kim's app called Kim Kardashian Hollywood. The app was promoting Kendall's 818, but for some reason the 512 bottle could also be seen front and center on the in-game images. As of right now, it's unclear if this was a mistake or intentional, but either way, it proves the point of this lawsuit quite well. Their main argument is that customers will get confused, and here we have an example of developers being confused over the actual tequila design for Kim's game. If a mistake like that can be made, then it can definitely be argued that a consumer would make the same mistake, thus costing 512 money and making more money for Kendall. 512 claims that they reached out to the creators of Kim's gaming app, but then say that the game creators kept the design and simply changed the color from yellow to green. The lawsuit goes on to state, either defendant intentionally used plaintiff's bottle hoping to further blur the lines between the two products, or defendant was itself confused about the difference between the two brands. It's also important to note that Kendall was not listed as a defendant, only her company is being sued, but a company rep said that they are reviewing the complaint and believe that the allegations are without merit. But 512 is attempting to have a judge stop 818's production and sales with this lawsuit, even saying that they want the profits that the company has made from their similar tequila brand. Now, Tequila 512 CEO and chairman Nick Matsoukas also gave a statement to a local news station in Austin and said that they want 818 Tequila to clearly distinguish themselves from his company's products, adding, "It goes beyond just lost sales. It's about the long-term dilution of our unique, recognizable brand identity that they decided to mimic. This isn't the first time that Kendall's tequila company has faced some kind of backlash before. Previously, she was criticized and accused of appropriating Mexican culture in her promotional images, while others have mocked her for the grammatically incorrect Spanish on 818's label.